Captain Lee Dae-ho sat in his chair on the bridge of the Earth Defense Station. His coffee was getting cold, but he did not care. The screens in front of him showed something amazing. 3 different alien groups were fighting each other in space, not far from Earth. They had been fighting for 3 years now. The aliens called themselves fancy names. There were the crystal people called the Vorthari Empire. They looked like living diamonds and thought they were the smartest beings in the galaxy. Then there were the bug-like creatures called the Nexus Collective. They all shared one big mind and worked together like ants. Finally, there were the warrior aliens called the Krell Federation. They loved to fight and believed that only the strongest should rule. Lee Dae-ho watched their ships blow each other up on his screens. He smiled a little bit. These aliens were so busy fighting that they had not even noticed Earth. They thought humans were still primitive cave people who could barely make fire. "Captain, we have new reports," said Lieutenant Park Soo-min. She was young but very smart. She studied aliens for the Earth government. "The crystal people lost 15 ships yesterday. The bug people lost 20. The warrior aliens lost 30 ships. "Good," said Lee Dae-ho. "Let them destroy each other. We do not need to do anything yet." Park Soo-min looked confused. "Sir, should we not help one of them? Maybe make friends with the winner?" The captain laughed. "Help them? They do not even know we exist. To them, we are just animals who learn to use tools. They think our radio signals are too simple to be from smart beings." This was true. For 200 years, humans had been listening to alien messages. The aliens talked to each other like humans were not there. They said things like, "The third planet in the Sol system has some life, but nothing important, and the creatures there are too stupid to be a threat." Park Soo-min sat down at her station. "But sir, they have amazing technology. Their ships are faster than ours. Their weapons are stronger." "Are they really?" asked Lee Dae-ho with a bigger smile. Far away on the moon, Admiral Kim Tae-wan was having a meeting with other important people. The room was deep underground where no alien spy could see them. On the walls were pictures of human ships that looked nothing like the simple rockets the aliens thought humans used. "Report," said the Admiral to Engineer Choi Ha-na. "All hidden." "Bases are ready, sir," she said. "We have weapon platforms in 150 asteroids. We have shield generators on the dark side of the moon. We have ships hidden in gas clouds near Jupiter and Saturn." Dr. Lim Ye-jin, Earth's best scientist, stood up. "Admiral, our technology is now equal to theirs in most areas. In some areas, we are better." "How is that possible?" asked General Oh Min-ho. "We only learned about them 200 years ago." Dr. Lim smiled. "Because we have been stealing their technology for 200 years. Every message they send, we copy. Every ship design they share with each other, we learn. They never encrypt their communications properly. To us, their secrets are like children's books." The Admiral nodded. "And what about Project Smile?" Engineer Choi Ha-na pressed some buttons on her computer. All around the solar system, hidden stations began to wake up. On Mars, weapons that looked like mining equipment turned toward space. In the asteroid belt, fake rocks opened up to show missile launchers. Near the gas giant planets, ships that had been sleeping for decades started their engines. "Project Smile is ready, sir," said Choi Ha-na. "We have been building this defense network for 50 years. Every human base, every human ship, every human weapon is hidden and ready." Back on Earth, President Han So-young was giving a speech to world leaders. But this was not a normal speech. The leaders were in a secret bunker deep underground. "My friends," she said, "today marks the beginning of the end of alien dominance in our galaxy. For 2 centuries, we have watched them. We have learned from them. We have prepared for this moment." The president pressed a button. A huge screen showed the alien war happening near their solar system. Ships exploded in colorful lights. Millions of alien soldiers were dying. "They think they are fighting to control the galaxy," said the president. "But really, they are just making themselves weak. When they are done destroying each other, we will be here. We will be strong. We will be ready." One of the world leaders raised his hand. "Madam President, are we sure we can win against any survivors? These aliens have been traveling between stars for thousands of years." The president smiled. "Prime Minister Kim Tae-won, please show our friends what we have been building." Kim Tae-won stood up. He was not just a government leader. He was also a secret military commander. "Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about humanity's real space program." The screen changed. Instead of alien ships, it now showed human ships. But these ships looked nothing like the simple rockets that humans used in public. These ships were beautiful and deadly. They had smooth curves like dolphins, but they also had sharp edges like knives. "We have 600 combat ships," said Kim Tae-won. "We have 2,000 support ships. We have defense stations around every planet and moon in our solar system. We have been building this military for 100 years. The world leaders gasped. They had known about some secret military projects, but not this big. "How did we pay for all this?" asked one leader. Dr. Park Soo-min stepped forward. She was older now and had become the head of all human space projects. "We used alien technology to make our economy much better. We learned how to make better computers. Better materials, better energy sources. Earth became much richer, but we told nobody why." "And the aliens never suspected?" asked another leader. "Never," said Dr. Park. "To them, we are just smart animals. They see our public space program with its slow rockets and simple satellites. They never look deeper. They never imagine that we might be hiding something." Admiral Kim Tae-won walked to the big screen. "The alien war is getting worse. Soon one group will win, but they will be very weak. That is when we will introduce ourselves to the galaxy." President Han So-young nodded. "The galaxy has been fighting a war to see who is strongest. But they do not know that the real strongest group has been sitting quietly in the Sol system, watching and waiting." She looked at all the world leaders. "My friends, humanity has been preparing for this day since we first heard alien voices in space. We did not rush to meet them. We did not try to be friends. We waited. We learned. We built our strength in secret." "And now?" asked Prime Minister Kim. The president's smile was cold but confident. "Now we wait a little longer. Let them finish destroying each other. Then we will show the galaxy what humans can do when we are ready." Outside the secret bunker, normal humans lived their normal lives. They went to work, watched movies, played with their children. They did not know that their planet was surrounded by the most powerful military force in the galaxy. They did not know that humanity was about to become the rulers of 1,000 star systems. But deep in space, Captain Lee Dae-ho watched the alien ships explode and smiled. Soon, very soon, the galaxy would learn that Earth had been waiting for this moment, for a very long time. Commander Zith-Ara of the Vorthari Empire was dying. Her crystal ship was broken and leaking air. Behind her, 50 Krell Federation warships were chasing her through space. Her crew of 200 crystal beings was now only 30. The rest had been killed when the warrior aliens attacked her fleet. "Commander, we need somewhere to hide," said her assistant, Velthari. His crystal body was cracked and dim. "Our shields are failing. Our weapons are gone." Zithara looked at the star map. There was only one place nearby where they might be safe, a small yellow star with some planets. Her computer said the system had life on the third planet, but only simple creatures. No advanced technology, no weapons that could hurt them. "Set course for the Sol system," she ordered. "We will hide there and repair our ship." Her ship limped into human space like a wounded animal. Zithara felt safe for the first time in days. The primitive humans could not hurt her. Her ship was still much more advanced than anything these simple creatures could build. Then her computer started screaming warnings. Dozens of ships had appeared around her. They came from nowhere, like ghosts becoming real. They were beautiful ships, smooth and deadly. They looked like no design in her database. "Unknown vessel, "You are now in human space," said a voice on her communication system. The voice spoke perfect Vorthari language. "I am Captain Yoon-Jin Woo of the United Earth Ship Indomitable. State your intentions immediately." Zithara's crystal body turned cold with shock. These humans spoke her language better than some of her own people. How was that possible? "This is Commander Zithara of the Vorthari Empire," she said slowly. "We request sanctuary to repair our damaged ship." Sanctuary? The human captain sounded amused. "In our space? Without permission? Without even saying hello first?" More human ships appeared. Zithara counted 50, then 100, then 200. They surrounded her ship completely. Their weapons were powered up and ready to fire. "Please," said Zithara, "we mean no harm. We are refugees from the war." "The war you started," said Captain Yoon. "The war that has killed billions of beings across the galaxy. The war that you never bothered to invite us to join." On Earth, President Han So-young sat in her office with her advisors. On her screen, she could see the alien ship surrounded by human vessels. This was the moment they had been preparing for. "Madam President, what are your orders?" asked Intelligence Director Oh Min-ho. "Bring the alien commander to Earth," said the president. "It is time for the galaxy to learn that humans are not as simple as they thought." Captain Yoon's ship moved close to the alien vessel. "Commander Zithara, you will come aboard our ship for questioning. Your crew will remain on your vessel under guard." "Questioning?" Zithara was getting angry. "I am a commander of the Vorthari Empire. I do not answer to primitive species." "Primitive?" Captain Yoon laughed. "Commander, you are about to learn just how primitive we really are." Human soldiers in advanced space armor boarded the crystal ship. Zithara had never seen armor like this. It seemed to change and adapt as she watched. When her crew tried to use their crystal weapons, the armor simply absorbed the energy. "Interesting technology," said the human soldier leader, Sergeant Park Min-ho. "But we have been studying crystal weapons for 150 years. We know how to stop them." They brought Zithara to Earth in a human transport ship. She looked out the windows and could not believe what she saw. The space around Earth was full of activity. Hundreds of ships moved between planets. Space stations bigger than cities orbited every planet. Weapons platforms floated in the asteroid belt. "This is impossible," she whispered. "Our scouts said this system had no advanced technology." "Your scouts saw what we wanted them to see," said Captain Yoon. "Simple rockets, basic satellites. We are very good at hiding our real capabilities. On Earth, they took Zithara to a secure building in the mountains. Dr. Lim Ye-jin was waiting for her with a team of human scientists. The room was full of alien technology, Vorthari crystal computers, Nexus bioprocessors, Krell weapon systems. "Where did you get all this?" asked Zithara. "We have been collecting alien technology for 200 years, said Dr. Lim. "Every time one of your ships breaks down, we take pieces. Every time you throw away old equipment, we find it. Every time your people fight each other, we study the wreckage." Dr. Lim pressed a button. The wall became a huge screen showing star maps of the entire galaxy. Red dots showed Vorthari space. Blue dots showed Nexus space. Green dots showed Krell space. But there were also yellow dots everywhere, scattered across the galaxy. "What are the yellow dots?" asked Zithara. "Human observation posts," said Dr. Lim. "We have been watching all three of your empires for decades. We know your military strength. We know your battle plans. We know your political problems. We probably know more about your own empire than you do." Intelligence Director Oh Min-ho entered the room carrying a thick folder. "Commander Zithara, let me show you what we know about you personally." He opened the folder. Inside were pictures of Zithara's family, her home, her military record, even her personal messages to friends. "We know you graduated third in your class at the Crystal Academy," said Oh Min-ho. We know you like poetry about distant stars. We know you are worried about your younger brother who is fighting in the war. We know you think your emperor is making bad decisions. Zithara's crystal body flickered with fear. How do you know all this? Your people never learned to properly encrypt quantum communications, said Dr. Park Soo-jin, the human expert on alien languages. For 2 centuries, we have been reading every message your empire sends, every battle plan, every secret order, every private conversation. That is impossible, said Zithara. Our encryption is perfect. Dr. Park smiled. Perfect for protecting against other crystal beings. But humans think differently. We see patterns that you miss. We solve puzzles that seem impossible to you. They showed Zithara more evidence. Human computers had copies of secret Vorthari, military documents. They had recordings of private meetings between Vorthari leaders. They even had the personal diary of the Vorthari emperor. My emperor's diary? Zithara could barely speak. But that is kept in the most secure location in our empire. Secure from crystal technology, said Oh Minho, not secure from human. Hackers who have been studying your systems for generations. Captain Lee Kyung-soo entered the room. He was the human military officer in charge of alien prisoners. Commander Zithara, we have a choice to offer you. What choice? Help us understand the current military situation, said Captain Lee. Tell us about fleet movements, battle plans, political problems. In return, we will make sure the Vorthari Empire survives what is coming. What is coming? Captain Lee's smile was not friendly. The end of the Galactic War. The aliens have been fighting to decide who will rule the galaxy, but they made one big mistake. What mistake? They forgot to ask if anyone else wanted to. Play the game! Zithara looked around the room at all the human faces. These beings that her people thought were primitive animals. These creatures that the galaxy had ignored for centuries. You are going to attack all 3 empires, she said slowly. Attack. Captain Lee shook his head. No, Commander. We are going to manage them. There is a difference. Dr. Lim showed Zithara one more display. It was a real-time view of the Galactic War. Hundreds of alien ships were destroying each other, while human observation posts watched and recorded everything. Your 3 empires are destroying each other, said Dr. Lim. Soon, whoever wins will be too weak to resist us. That is when humanity will introduce itself to the galaxy properly. But why? Asked Zithara. Why did you wait so long? Why did you not join the galactic community when you first heard our signals? President Han So-young entered the room. She had come to Earth's capital to personally meet the first alien prisoner. Because, Commander, said the president, we learned long ago that it is better to be underestimated than overestimated. While you fought wars to prove your strength, we built strength in silence. While you conquered planets to show your power, we studied your weaknesses from the shadows. The president walked to the window. Outside, the lights of Earth's cities stretched to the horizon. But Zithara now knew that those cities hid technology that could conquer the galaxy. The galactic community never invited us to join, said President Han. So we decided to wait until we could buy the whole company instead. Admiral Park Chan-ho stood on the bridge of the UES Determination, humanity's flagship. Around him, his crew prepared for the most important moment in human history. Today, Earth would announce itself to the galaxy. Communications Officer Nam. Ji-yoon, are all channels ready? Asked the Admiral. Yes, sir, she replied. We have tapped into every alien communication network. Every ship, every base, every planet will receive our message at the same time, the Admiral nodded. Begin transmission. Across the galaxy, on thousands of alien ships and millions of alien worlds, screens suddenly showed the same image. A human. face speaking calmly in perfect alien languages. Admiral Park looked directly at the camera as he spoke. "Greetings, people of the galaxy. I am Admiral Park Chan-ho, speaking for the human Commonwealth. We have been watching your war with great interest. We have decided it is time to introduce ourselves." On the bridge of the Krell Federation flagship, Fleet Commander Thekron nearly dropped his weapon in shock. The primitive humans were speaking to him in his own language, better than many of his own soldiers. "For 3 years, you have been fighting to control our neighborhood," continued Admiral Park. "You have brought violence and death to star systems near our home. This ends now." Emperor Zak Thul of the Nexus Collective felt his hive mind buzz with confusion. How were these simple creatures able to broadcast on their secure networks? "You have 36 hours to remove all military vessels from the local group of galaxies," said Admiral Park. "This is your only warning. Any ships remaining after this time will be considered hostile and treated accordingly." Vorthari Emperor Kristahan watched the message from his crystal palace. "This must be some kind of joke," he told his advisors. "These humans barely have space travel. Check our databases." His science advisor, Quilvera, pulled up human files. "My Emperor, our last scout report says they have simple rocket ships and basic satellites. No faster-than-light travel, no energy weapons, no threat to anyone." "Then how are they broadcasting on our private channels?" asked the Emperor. The 3 alien leaders had the same reaction. They laughed, then they got angry. "How dare these primitive animals give orders to the rulers of the galaxy?" Fleet Commander Thekron of the Krell Federation was the first to respond. "All ships, set course for the Sol system. We will crush these insects and show the galaxy what happens when primitives get too bold." Emperor Zak Thul ordered his Nexus fleets to join the attack. "The hive mind will absorb these humans. Their knowledge will become our knowledge." Emperor Kristan sent his crystal armadas as well. "We will turn their planet into a museum. Future generations will learn what happens to species that insult the Vorthari Empire." Within hours, the largest military force in galactic history was moving toward Earth, 3,000 ships carrying millions of alien soldiers. Every weapon, every technology, every military advancement the 3 empires had developed over thousands of years. They expected to find a small blue planet with simple defenses. They found something very different. The alien fleets dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Sol system. What they saw made no sense. The space around Earth looked like the inside of a giant machine. Massive space stations orbited every planet. The asteroid belt was full of weapon platforms. Saturn's rings were actually disguised shipyards building more human vessels. Jupiter's moons had been turned into fortress worlds. "This is impossible," whispered Fleet Commander Thekron. "Our intelligence said they were primitive." Battle Coordinator Nam Ji-aon sat in her command center hidden in Saturn's rings. Her screens showed every alien ship in perfect detail. She smiled as she spoke into her communicator. "All units, this is Control. The enemy has arrived exactly as predicted. Begin Operation Smile." What happened next would be talked about in alien history books for thousands of years. The humans did not charge forward like warriors. They did not hide behind shields like cowards. They moved like surgeons with very sharp knives. Captain An Soo-hyun commanded a squadron of human fighters. Her ships were small and fast, designed to look less dangerous than they really were. She led 17 ships against a formation of Nexus cruisers. "Target their communication arrays first," she ordered. "Then their engines, then their weapons. I want them alive but helpless." The Nexus ships fired their bioweapons at the human fighters. The weapons were designed to eat through any known metal. But human armor was not made of known metals. It was made of materials stolen from all 3 alien empires and improved by human scientists. The alien weapons hit human ships and simply stopped working. The human ships flew through clouds of bioacid without taking damage. Then they fired back. Human weapons were different from anything the aliens had seen. Instead of trying to destroy enemy ships, they targeted specific systems. Precise energy beams cut through alien hulls like hot knives through butter, but they only hit exactly what humans wanted to hit. Within minutes, 17 massive Nexus cruisers were floating dead in space. Their crews were alive, but their ships could not move, could not fight, could not communicate. "Interesting," said Captain On as her crews boarded the disabled ships. "Their biotechnology will be very useful for our research projects." Across the battlefield, similar scenes were playing out. Human ships moved in perfect coordination, sharing information instantly. When one human ship learned something new about alien technology, every other human ship knew it immediately. Engineering Chief Seo Dongmin monitored the battle from his technical center on Luna. "Fascinating," he said as data flowed across his screens. "The Krell use quantum resonance in their shields. Now we know how to make better quantum shields. The Vorthari crystal matrix operates at specific frequencies," reported Dr. Kang Mi-young from her research station. "We can disrupt those frequencies with properly tuned electromagnetic pulses. Every alien weapon that fired taught humans how to build better defenses. Every alien ship that was captured gave humans new technology to study. The aliens were not just losing a battle. They were giving their enemies the tools to beat them even more easily." Fleet Commander Thekron watched, his mighty armada being taken apart piece by piece. "How are they so coordinated?" he demanded. "How do they know exactly where to hit us?" His science officer, Grok Tall, stared at his instruments in disbelief. "Commander, they are using our own tactical networks against us. Somehow they are reading our communications and battle plans in real time." This was true. For 200 years, humans had been studying alien communication systems. Now, in the middle of battle, they were intercepting every alien order, every alien strategy, every alien desperate attempt to coordinate their forces. "Admiral," reported Communications Officer Kim Hyo-jin to Admiral Park, "the aliens are trying to use new encryption codes." "And?" asked the Admiral. "We broke them 18 seconds after they started using them." The alien commanders realized they were fighting an enemy that knew their every move before they made it. Every time they tried a new strategy, the humans were already prepared for it. Every time they attempted to regroup, human forces were waiting for them. But the most frightening thing was not how easily humans won battles, it was how they won them. The aliens expected humans to destroy their ships and kill their crews. Instead, humans disabled ships and captured prisoners. They fought without anger, without hatred, without the emotions that drove most warfare. "They fight like machines," whispered Emperor Christhan as he watched his crystal fleets being systematically dismantled. "Worse," replied his advisor. "Machines we understand. These humans fight like they have been planning this exact battle for centuries." Which, of course, they had. Dr. Shin Hai-wan had spent her entire career studying alien psychology. Now she put that knowledge to work. "The Nexus Collective depends on shared thoughts," she explained to her team. "If we introduce chaos into their mental network, they will turn on each other." She activated a device that sent confusing signals into the Nexus hive mind. Suddenly, Nexus ships began attacking other Nexus ships, their crews unable to tell friend from enemy. Strategic Commander Bayek In-ho used different tactics against the Krell Federation. "They are warriors who respect strength," he told his captains. "So we will show them what real strength looks like." Human ships began performing impossible maneuvers, moving in ways that defied everything aliens knew about space combat. They appeared and disappeared like ghosts. They struck from directions that should have been impossible. They coordinated attacks across light years of space with perfect timing. The Krell, who prided themselves on being the galaxy's greatest warriors, found themselves completely outclassed by enemies who treated war as a science rather than an art. As alien reinforcements continued to arrive, they found human forces that seemed to grow stronger with each engagement. Every new alien ship meant more technology for humans to study. Every new weapon meant better defenses for human forces. The hunters had become the hunted, and Earth's children were very, very good at hunting. 3 months had passed since the great battle at Sol. The galaxy was a very different place now. Human ships appeared everywhere, striking alien worlds with perfect timing and overwhelming force. Grand Admiral Ju Hyun-woo commanded the largest military operation in galactic history from his flagship, the UES Inevitable. "Report," he said to his staff as they gathered around the tactical display showing the entire galaxy. "The Vorthari homeworld of Kristara has fallen," reported Colonel Woo Sung-min. "Resistance collapsed after 6 hours. The crystal beings surrendered when they realized we could turn off their energy sources." The Admiral nodded. The Vorthari had built their entire civilization around crystal technology that used specific energy frequencies. Human scientists had learned to disrupt those frequencies, making Vorthari cities go dark with the flip of a switch. "What about the Nexus Collective?" asked the Admiral. "Emperor Zak Thul is dead," said Dr. Shin Hai-wan, the human expert on hive mind psychology. "When we broke their mental connections, the different parts of their empire started fighting each other. The confusion killed their emperor and scattered their fleets. The Nexus Collective had seemed unbeatable because all their people shared one mind. But Dr. Shin had discovered that shared minds could be hacked just like computer networks. By introducing wrong information into their mental links, she had turned their greatest strength into their greatest weakness." "And the Krell Federation?" asked the Admiral. Strategic Commander Bayek In-ho smiled coldly. "Fleet Commander Thecaron challenges our officers to single combat every day. He cannot understand why we refuse to fight him personally." The Krell were warriors who believed that the strongest fighter should be the leader. They could not understand humans who won battles through planning instead of personal strength. When human forces surrounded Krell worlds, the alien warriors kept asking for individual fights to decide the winner. The humans ignored these challenges and simply took control of the planets. "Good," said Admiral Ju. "Phase 2 begins tomorrow. All human fleets will begin occupation duty." The occupation of alien worlds was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. When the Vorthari conquered planets, they enslaved the population. When the Nexus took worlds, they absorbed everyone into their hive mind. When the Krell won battles, they killed anyone who resisted. Humans did something completely different. On the crystal world of Veltara, Colonel Kim Yoo-jin established a temporary government within hours of landing. The crystal beings who lived there had expected death or slavery. Instead, human soldiers began distributing food and medicine. "Why are you helping us?" asked Silthan, a local crystal leader. "We are your enemies." "You were never our enemies," replied Colonel Kim. "Your leaders were our enemies. You are just people who happen to live under bad leadership." The colonel set up medical stations where human doctors treated wounded crystal beings. She established communication networks so families could find each other after the war. She even kept most of the local crystal government in power, only removing leaders who had committed war crimes. "But we lost the war," said Silthan. "Should you not punish us?" Colonel Kim looked at the crystal being with something close to pity. "We do not want to punish you. We want to manage you. There is a big difference. On former Nexus worlds, the situation was even more complicated. The bio-creatures there had never learned to think as individuals. Without their hive mind, they were confused and frightened." Medical Officer Kim Hyo-jin worked with former Nexus drones on the world of biogenesis. "It is okay," she told them gently. "You do not need to share thoughts with everyone. You can have your own ideas." "But how do we know what to do if the hive mind does not tell us?" asked a former drone named Zix-34. "You learn to decide for yourself," said Dr. Kim. "We will teach you." She established schools where former hive mind members learned to be individuals. It was slow work, but humans had studied Nexus psychology for decades. They knew how to help the bio creatures develop their own personalities. Some former drones chose to connect to new human-designed mental networks that allowed sharing without control. Others decided to live completely alone for the first time in their lives. Both choices were respected. On Krell worlds, the challenge was different. The warrior aliens could not understand why humans treated prisoners well and helped rebuild destroyed cities. Rehabilitation. Specialist Moon Tae-ho worked on the Krell homeworld of Wargoth. The warrior aliens there kept expecting humans to challenge, their strongest fighters to combat. "Why do you not fight us properly?" demanded Krell General Graktos. "Where is your honor? Our honor comes from protecting life, not taking it," replied Moon Tae-ho. "We prefer to solve problems with our minds instead of our fists." This confused the Krell greatly. In their culture, might made right. The strongest person should be the leader. But humans seemed to be the strongest fighters in the galaxy, yet they refused to act like warriors. "If you are so strong, why do you not rule through strength?" asked General Graktos. "Because ruling through strength only works until someone stronger comes along," explained Moon Tae-ho. "We prefer to rule through competence. That lasts much longer." The human administrator established martial arts schools where Krell warriors could teach their fighting techniques to human students. In return, the Krell learned human strategy and tactics. Many warrior aliens discovered they enjoyed the mental challenges of planning and coordination more than simple fighting. Meanwhile, in the deepest levels of government, other work was happening. Chief Justice Hong Yun-soo presided over the Galactic War Crimes Tribunal. Every alien leader who had ordered attacks on civilian populations was put on trial. "The defendant is accused of ordering the destruction of the civilian colony on New Harmony," she said to former Vorthari General Quindal. "How do you plead?" "I plead that I am a warrior following orders," replied the crystal being. "Following illegal orders is not a defense," said Justice Hong. "You had a choice to refuse. You chose to obey. You are responsible for your actions." The trials were fair but thorough. Human lawyers presented evidence collected over decades of observation. Video recordings of alien military meetings, copies of orders to attack civilian targets, communications between leaders planning war crimes. The aliens had never imagined that anyone was recording their private conversations. Now those recordings were being used as evidence in courts that would decide their fate. But the trials also showed something important about humans. They did not seek revenge. Even alien leaders who had ordered the deaths of millions were given fair trials with proper legal representation. "Why do you not just execute them all?" asked Zithara, the Vorthari commander who had been the first alien prisoner. She now worked as a translator for the human government. "Because we are not like them," explained cultural advisor Song Min-ji. "We do not kill people just because we can. We kill them only when we must." Some alien war criminals were executed for the worst crimes. Others were sent to prison. Many were allowed to return to their people after promising to help rebuild their worlds under human supervision. The galaxy watched these trials with amazement. The humans were powerful enough to destroy every alien civilization, but instead, they were trying to fix them. On Earth, President Han So-young addressed the human population. For the first time in 200 years, she told them the whole truth about their place in the galaxy. "My fellow humans," she said, "you have lived your entire lives not knowing that we share the galaxy with other intelligent species. Today, I can tell you that we are no longer alone in the universe." She explained about the alien civilizations, the Galactic War, and humanity's long preparation. The people of Earth learned that their planet had been surrounded by the most powerful military force in the galaxy for decades. "Why did you not tell us before?" asked a reporter. "Because you did not need to know," replied the president. "You lived your lives, raised your families, built your dreams. Meanwhile, your government prepared to protect those dreams from threats you never knew existed." "What happens now?" asked another reporter. President Han smiled. Now we do what humans do best. We clean up the mess, fix what is broken, and make sure it does not happen again. Across the galaxy, human administrators were doing exactly that. They rebuilt destroyed cities with better designs. They established trade networks that helped all species prosper. They created laws that protected the weak from the strong. Ambassador Li Yun-ji traveled between alien worlds, establishing the new galactic government. Everywhere she went, she found the same thing. The aliens were confused but grateful. They had expected conquest and slavery. Instead, they got competent management and fair treatment. "The humans are strange conquerors," said a Krell warrior to his friend. "They make us stronger instead of weaker." "They are not conquerors," replied his friend, who had been studying human philosophy. "They are gardeners. They help things grow instead of cutting them down." As the first year of human rule ended, the galaxy had changed completely. Wars that had raged for centuries were over. Trade that had been disrupted by fighting resumed on a larger scale than ever before. Planets that had been destroyed were being rebuilt with technology that combined the best of all species. 1 year after humanity revealed itself to the galaxy, everything had changed. Director General Ryu Sung-ho stood in his office on Luna, looking out at the busiest space traffic in galactic history. Ships from dozens of species traveled between worlds that had been at war just months ago. The Third Galactic War was over, and the Fourth Galactic Era had begun. "The Galactic Assembly will begin in 10 minutes, sir," said his assistant, Park So-jin. Ryu Sung-ho nodded and walked to the assembly hall. Representatives from 43 different alien species sat in chairs designed for their various body types. Crystal beings sat next to bio-creatures. Warrior aliens talked quietly with gas cloud entities that humans had discovered hiding in nebulas for centuries. "Welcome, beings of the galaxy," said Director General Ryu as he began the weekly assembly meeting. "Let us review the progress reports from each sector." Human Administrator Cho Ye-rim stood to give her report on the former Vorthari Empire. "The crystal worlds are adapting well to the new trade regulations," she said. "Production of crystal. Technology has increased by 40% since we removed the restrictions that prevented innovation. The Vorthari had always been proud of their crystal perfection, but their pride had made them afraid to change or improve. Under human management, crystal engineers were encouraged to experiment and create new designs. The results amazed even the aliens themselves. "Administrator Cho," said Velthari, a crystal being who now served as an advisor to the human government. "My people want to know if we will ever be allowed to govern ourselves again." "When you are ready," replied Cho Ye-rim simply. "Some of your worlds are already managing their own local governments. When you prove you can govern without oppressing other species, you will get more independence." This was the human way. They did not keep power just to have power. They kept power until they were sure it would be used responsibly. Rehabilitation specialist Moon Tae-ho gave his report on the former Nexus Collective. "Individual consciousness development continues to progress," he said. 70% of former drones now make independent decisions. 30% still prefer group consciousness, but in voluntary networks instead of forced hive minds. A former Nexus drone named Zix-34 had become the elected representative for his people. "The humans taught us that sharing thoughts is good, but forcing thoughts is bad," he said. "We are learning the difference. Some bio-creatures had chosen to remain connected to others through human-designed neural networks that allowed sharing without control. Others lived completely alone for the first time in their species' history. Both groups were healthier and happier than they had ever been under the old hive mind system." Cultural advisor Song Min-ji reported on the former Krell Federation. "The warrior worlds have established new governments based on merit rather than strength," she said. "Former soldiers are retraining as engineers, teachers, and administrators. This had been the hardest transition. Krell culture had been based on fighting for thousands of years. But humans had shown them that there were many different kinds of strength. The strength to build was greater than the strength to destroy. The strength to teach was greater than the strength to conquer. General Graktos, the former Krell warrior, now served as head of the Galactic Peace Corps. "My people are learning that the greatest battles are fought against ignorance and suffering," he said. "It is more difficult to feed a hungry planet than to conquer it. But the victory lasts longer." Chief Justice Hong Yun-soo gave her report on the war crimes tribunals. "All major cases have been concluded," she said. "Former alien leaders guilty of crimes against civilians have been sentenced. Those who cooperated with reconstruction efforts received reduced sentences." The trials had established something new in galactic history: the idea that leaders were responsible for their actions even during wartime. Alien civilizations had never had this concept before. They had always believed that winners could do whatever they wanted to losers. "What happens to the criminals after their sentences?" asked Silthon, the crystal being who now represented several Vorthari worlds. "They will be given chances to make up for their crimes," said Chief Justice Hong. "Those who truly regret what they did will be allowed to help rebuild what they destroyed." Even this was a human innovation. Most alien cultures believed in punishment for its own sake. Humans believed in punishment that served a purpose: to prevent future crimes and to help criminals become better people. The meeting ended with good news from all sectors. Trade was growing, populations were healthier, education was improving. Wars had stopped not just because human military forces prevented them, but because most species no longer wanted to fight. After the assembly, Ryu Sung-ho met with his staff to discuss private matters that could not be shared with alien representatives. "Any word from the deep space monitors?" he asked Intelligence Director Oh Min-ho. "Several new alien civilizations detected in the Outer Rim," replied Oh Min-ho. "Early analysis suggests they may be more advanced than the 3 empires we just defeated. Recommendations? Standard protocol. We watch, we learn, we prepare. If they prove hostile, we will be ready. If they prove peaceful, we will eventually make contact." This was the human way that had served them so well. Never rush into new situations. Always gather information first. Always have a plan before acting. Dr. Park Soo-jin entered the room with her weekly report on interspecies education programs. "The first interspecies university graduated its first class today," she said with a smile. "Crystal beings, bio-creatures, and Krell warriors all studied together. Some of them are now working together on research projects that combine all their different technologies." "Any problems with cultural conflicts?" asked Ryu Sung-ho. "A few," admitted Dr. Park. "But the young ones adapt much faster than the old ones. Give us another generation, and species differences will seem as unimportant as hair color differences among humans." On the former Krell homeworld of War Goth, Teacher Park Soo-jin stood in front of a classroom full of children from 5 different species. Crystal younglings sat next to bio-creature larvae and young Krell warriors. On the wall hung a picture of a blue planet surrounded by a simple white circle that had become the symbol of the human commonwealth. "Who can tell me why this symbol shows Earth smiling?" she asked her students. A young Krell warrior raised his hand. "Because Earth was happy when the grown-ups finally stopped fighting?" "That is part of it," said Teacher Park. "But there is more. Earth was smiling because humans had been waiting for a very long time. They were patient. They prepared. When the right moment came, they were ready." A crystal youngling asked, "Were the humans always planning to rule the galaxy?" "No," said Teacher Park. "Humans never wanted to rule anyone. But when other species could not stop fighting, humans decided to help them learn how to live in peace." A bio-creature larva made a questioning sound. Teacher Park had learned to understand all the different ways her students communicated. "You want to know if humans will always be in charge?" she asked. The larva made an agreeing sound. "Only until Everyone learns to make good choices on their own. Humans do not want to be rulers forever. They want to be teachers until they are no longer needed. This was true. On dozens of worlds, human administrators were already turning over local control to alien governments that had proven they could govern fairly. The process was slow, but it was steady. In the asteroid belt near Earth, archivist John Kyung-mi worked in her secret archive. The walls were covered with data from throughout the galaxy, reports from human observation posts, analysis of alien cultures, records of first contacts with species that most galactic citizens did not know existed yet. She received a new report from Deep Space Monitor Kang Woo-sung. Possible first contact in 18 months with the ethereal consortium beyond the Galactic Rim. Recommend beginning preliminary observation protocols. John Kyung-mi smiled and filed the report with thousands of others like it. Humanity continued to watch, to learn, to prepare. The galaxy might have accepted human leadership, but the universe was vast. There were always new neighbors to meet, new challenges to face, new problems to solve. Her computer chimed with an incoming message from President Han So-young, now in her second term leading the human commonwealth. Archivist Jian, please prepare a full briefing on extragalactic contacts for next month's security meeting. It seems our neighbors have neighbors, and some of them may not be as reasonable as the species we have already met. John Kyung-mi nodded and began pulling files. This was what humans did best. They planned for problems before the problems arrived. Outside her window, she could see the lights of New Geneva Station, where representatives from across the galaxy worked together to solve problems that had once seemed impossible. Trade disputes were settled with negotiation instead of warfare. Resource conflicts were resolved through cooperation instead of conquest. But in the deepest levels of the station, human military officers still met in secret rooms. General Kim Tae-wan reviewed defense plans that most aliens would never see, weapon systems that most species could not imagine, strategies that prepared for threats that had not yet revealed themselves. "Sir," said his aide, "the new recruits are asking why we still need such large military forces when the galaxy is at peace."